Well, hello everybody. I'm going to try this again. I did a little podcast yesterday and I wasn't feeling so well, so I'm going to start all over. It's live on Periscope. I'm starting all over today. There's a lot to talk about. Donald Trump is out there. Hillary Clinton is out there. The Joe Biden versus Donald Trump rumble in the jungle scandal, whatever you want to call it, going on. Joe Biden saying, I want to take Donald Trump out behind the barn and out behind the gym, and then Donald Trump saying, oh, we should fight in the gym, and they're gonna, I'd pay for that, right? I would pay for that. I would love to see Joe Biden, Donald Trump. I don't even care who wins. I'm not a big boxing fan, I'm not a big wrestling fan, yada yada, but I would pay to see that. I think that would just be awesome. Two 70-year-old men duking it out. And maybe this could be like the old time when like the two armies would meet, almost like, you know, Game of Thrones, right? And we're going to send our champions in, and our champions are going to fight it out. And whoever wins the one-on-one, we're going to save thousands of lives by sending in our two best fighters. It's a stretch for this, but we're going to send our two best fighters in there to fight to the death. And the person who wins, like, that party will win the presidency and and control the country for the next 4 years, right? And we're gonna have Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and whoever wins is going to be able to nominate the president. And I would be okay with that because it would be much more entertaining than this fiasco. And I mean, Donald Trump at his hotel today announcing, hey, look, we got a new hotel, we're under budget. I'm not doing Donald Trump very well. I'm sorry, not a great impersonator, right? Under budget, under schedule-wise, yada yada. Says that's what we need in this country. And like, you know, I think if he had run on that his entire campaign and focused on that kind of stuff, America would have been like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then having this 2 weeks before the election, 13 days, holy crap, 13 days more, we get to go back to normalcy, yay, and we have this whole thing going on. You know, that today would have been like this great thing, but like amidst all the other like chaos, it's like, to me, it's more like, okay, here's another commercial for Trump crap, right? Now, there's this whole thing. I keep saying that, jokingly, that Donald Trump has been laundering money from his foundation, from the campaign, to promote his brand, to promote his product, to save his ass, you name it. $300,000 went from small donation money. All the Bernie-type donors that donated to Donald Trump, a few bucks here, a few bucks there on the website, $300,000 of that went to buy copies of The Art of the Deal, Donald Trump's book. So basically, he's taking money, he's buying the books. I'm guessing he's giving them away for free to donors or to whoever's out there. Maybe they're free copies at the rallies. You know, if you wear one of Donald's t-shirts, they're probably, I'm guessing, like most of the time campaigns have free t-shirts, right? They're probably out there selling t-shirts outside. Hey, buy a t-shirt, $20, come on in, buy a t-shirt. Come into the Trump rally, $20 gets you in. Buy a t-shirt. Hey, buy a copy of The Art of the Deal. Hey, buy some steaks, Trump steaks. You buy something from Trump, then you get to come into the rally, right? And making money off of these things. How many of these fundraisers have been held in Trump properties? So Trump properties collecting rent from the campaign, right? Campaign money going to buy copies of the book, campaign money going to pay rent at Trump properties to hold Trump fundraisers, right? We go back far enough, taking money from the foundation to make the huge portrait of himself, and to $25,000 to try to get the Attorney General in Florida not to investigate Trump University. There's just this whole, this whole other people's money that he brags about. Donald Trump brags about other people's money. And he's not kidding. I mean, it's beyond. In Broadway, they always say, always use other people's money. Never use your own money. Raise money from investors. hire a director, hire a script writer, hire a cast, put up the show, you know, raise enough money to put up the show for a couple months, and then if you get ticket sales, you can keep the show running and try to repay your investors. And then once in a while you get a Wicked or a Hamilton where they like, holy moly, Broadway seems like a great investment all of a sudden. And even like, you know, but nowadays Broadway's a great investment, but it isn't always, right? It's not always a great investment. And Donald Trump, I don't know if he's always a great investment. Donald Trump has like a Wicked every couple years, right? He's got a hotel, he's got a golf course, but then he has a casino in Atlantic City that came in over budget, and he didn't have the money to pay people. They go bankrupt, and then he still makes his millions of dollars, but people are out of business, right? So he's like a Broadway producer. He's a big showman, and sometimes it pays off. And sometimes it pays off just enough that he can sucker those people back in. But he really does just throw shit at the wall. He throws shit at the wall, and sometimes it works, and when it works, it's like, hey, it's Wicked, yay! I mean, literally, it's Wicked. It's Donald Trump. He's evil. He's wicked, right? So it's this whole show. Thank God there's only 2 weeks left. What's going to happen afterwards? Who knows? Who knows? Only just out of reach, round the block in 2 weeks. Hey, did you guys hear Ice Cube is going to be producing with Disney a new version of Oliver Twist? And you gotta go on my Twitter. I have this whole meme where it's like Ice Cube and The Situation, because there's a song that Fagin sings that Ice Cube wants to play. Is they're reviewing The Situation. So I made this horrible thing. Oh, Megyn Kelly and Newt Gingrich. Thank you, Larice, for getting me focused. Megyn Kelly. Everyone is attacking Megyn Kelly now, right? Fox is under attack. Megyn Kelly is under attack. She's a woman. She despises Donald Trump. Donald Trump has taken her on. God forbid that this woman had the strength, had the balls, more balls than Donald, to take Donald on in a debate, has the balls as a conservative in the news to say, I don't know that I want this guy to be my president. You know, she's not being party loyalist, right? She's being loyal to her beliefs, to her faith, to her ethics and morals and idealism. And she's under attack for it. And she's saying that Donald Trump is a sexual predator. And Newt Gingrich is attacking her like every fucking asshole sexual predator does. Newt Gingrich has his own history with this stuff, right? You know, let's attack the messenger. And Megyn Kelly is as highbrow on the subject as it gets. She's been under attack from Donald Trump since she's been like bleeding from her eyes, her anger, right? Because Donald Trump was a fucking asshole to her at the debate. She's a journalist, and it's her job to pick apart the nonsense. And you can't blame, 40% of the Republican base of the Republican Party wanted Donald Trump as their candidate. Most of the party came together after he was nominated. But then one thing after another, all those people that were never Trump back in the day, one thing after another makes them run away and say, oh, this is why we didn't want him to be our nominee. This is why we can't get behind him. And now they have to attack. You know, you're not conservative enough. You're going to let Hillary Clinton become the president? Newt Gingrich, who lost to Bill Clinton in the 90s, basically. Newt Gingrich is like the big villain of the 1990s in the public kind of story out there, right? The victor gets to write history, right? Bill Clinton didn't exactly walk out of the 90s as the victor, but he certainly has a much more interesting following. They're much more loyal following than Newt Gingrich, for sure. And it's one of those things that I don't know. The Newt Gingrich, Chris Christie's gotten a little quiet because now the Bridgegate scandal's kind of getting out of control, and it's pretty clear that he's the douchebag we all thought he was. And then Rudy Giuliani, I think, is finally going to the retirement home. Just a little too much dementia. A little too much dementia there, a little senility, and maybe it's like he's not the best messenger anymore. His teeth keep falling out. I don't know if they're real or not, but they look like he's got teeth that are falling out, like a grandfather who's like crapping himself in the middle of an interview. Like, you ever see like he's talking to Chris Matthews on debate night, and he's just kind of hunched over in the chair, and he looks like he just crapped himself, and like he's like peeing himself. All of his bodily functions are out of control, including his words, his mouth and his language. The whole thing is falling apart. And I'm kind of glad. I'm glad. I grew up a Republican. I'm angry in the middle now, right, as I call these things. And we're at a place where one or two things are going to happen. The Republican Party is going to just be completely destroyed in the next 2 weeks. Or there's enough of a rallying cry to say, we blew it. Let's pull it together. Let's come back to the table. There's going to be a few crazy nut jobs on the radio that will always say, it's because we weren't conservative enough. That's why the whole country turned their back on the Republican Party. It's because we weren't conservative enough. The 20% of this country is going to be out there in the field somewhere. Why don't people love us? Why don't people see the world the way we see it in our narrow-minded, ignorant, hateful ways? Love thy neighbor. There's just too much hypocrisy. You're hiding behind Christianity in many cases, and yet you're being as un-Jesus Christ-like as possible. Period. I'm not, not all of you are racist, not all of you are bigots, not all of you are sexist, not all of you are homophobic. A lot of you are. I'm not even going to say most of you. Most of the people that are like diehard Donald Trump are, I'm not talking about people who are like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I hate Hillary. No, those that are like really diehard, that were like from that birther movement from the beginning, that from the day that Obama won back in 2008 and took office in 2009, you're like, whatever we need to do, we need to get this black man, I'm sure you use the N-word a lot more, out of that office. We just can't have this black man running the country, my country. I need to take my country back. How did this happen? How did one of those colors get like in control? How did that happen? We gotta take this country back. So now he wants the gays to get married. Holy moly! Oh, did I just curse it? Come back to the table. Meet us halfway. When I mean us, those of us in the middle. Liberals, same thing. Come back to the table. You Bernie or bust types, come back to the table. I'm not saying give up on what you believe to be true. But remember, this is a country of many, 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 many people. You want to be like Russia, where one small group of people get to run the whole thing because they think this is the right way to run it? Or do you want, because there's a chance that you're going to lose. And let's say the Bernie types decide to pick up arms. I know they don't like guns, so you're going to be able to kill them in the streets because you Second Amendment types. But if we all came back to the table, and you could go off and go to the church that you want to go to, and go to the school that you want to go to, and bring up your kids the way you want to bring them up, hopefully less and less intolerant with each generation, because that is what's happening. Each generation is getting less and less intolerant, more and more tolerant. There's still a few young people out there that are diehard racist and homophobic and sexist and anti-Mexican and anti-Muslim and anti-everything that isn't the creamy white shitheads that you are. But most of your kids, and I'm speaking to the shitheads right now, the deplorables, most of your kids are seeing the error in your ways. And each generation, there's fewer and fewer that are kind of like grabbing onto the hate that daddy and granddaddy spew. There's fewer and fewer. Like every generation, there's fewer and fewer. But it used to be more than 50%. It's down to about 20%. Like I would argue in just the past 50 years, there are less than half the number of diehard racists in this country than there used to be. Than there were just 50 years. You know, beginning of the civil rights movement, it was painful for a lot of people, but it was effective. It was painful, but it was effective. We had to have that clash in the 1950s and 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. We had to suffer through Hillary Clinton saying that the predators of the young gang members that are predators. We passed through those periods to get to the point where most of the leaders in this country at this stage of the game. X-Files news broke just now?
Yes, we need to start a new Periscope.
Uh-oh. I think I need to go. So Donald Trump, thank you for destroying the Republican Party as it has become in the last 20 years. Ever since 1964, they became the haven for all the crazies. The last 8 years, all the crazies were like, we came to you to solve our problem of the black man. And you failed us. You have failed us. The black man won. And now Donald Trump has just shown, I still think it's a joke for Donald Trump. I still think Donald Trump did it on purpose to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to bring all the crazies out of the woodworks. We're going to show the world how crazy these people are. And then on November 9th, he goes like, you see what you guys did? He's going to like turn everything around. He's going to say, you guys followed me and bought hook, line, and sinker. And all of you that were out there following me to the death, look inside. This is Donald Trump on November 9th. It's time for us all to take a shower and to rinse away